Chapter 11 Trouble is Coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. While Black Wind was drilling in and out of the vegetable field, Zhao Xinyu had already begun to plant the purchased seeds of common medicinal materials such as astragalus and bupleurum, and that night, when Zhao Xinyu entered the space to pick vegetables, he saw that the space had changed again. The area had increased from more than 3 acres to more than 6 acres, and the puddles had turned into small puddles. This made him even more excited. He was excited, and he also knew that space would change depending on the species, and the rarer the species, the greater the change in space. He suddenly remembered that when he and Su Ning were chatting, Su Ning mentioned that Kaoyang Mountain, which is close to the Shihan Ridge, was once the mountain on which the Shihan Ridge and many villages relied for survival. Many people went into the mountain every day. Hunting and gathering herbs. With the current economic development, many animals have become protected animals, so people don't go into the mountains very often. Many young people don't know what is in Kaoyang Mountain. Now only rare things can cause spatial changes in his own space, and rare species can be purchased in the market at a high price, so Zhao Xinyu has the idea of entering the mountains, but looking at his injured leg, Zhao Xinyu smiled helplessly. Although the ointments and medicines he made were effective in recovering from the injury, his left leg could now be used, and his face was greatly relieved, but he knew that if he went in now and encountered some large beast, this injured leg would be his life-saving talisman. In the next few days, whenever he has time, Zhao Xinyu will go into the space to take a look. Herbs and vegetables have emerged, and Zhao Xinyu has also begun to plan to transplant the vegetables and grapes in the space. Xinyu, it's a little early to transplant vegetables. Zhao Xinyu couldn't do anything in the yard of more than 10 acres, so he had no choice but to find the old village chief Han Tianliang. Grandpa Han, I also asked the people at the nursery. They said that the vegetables are new varieties, cold-resistant and drought-resistant. If you plant them early, you can sell them at a good price. Xinyu, look, there are not many young people in the village. They are all old people and women. How much do you plan to give people in a day? Grandpa Han, I don't know how much they usually cost. Everyone who can go out has gone out, and there is no one who can't go out. If you work odd jobs outside, you can only get 100 a day. The rest in the village can't compare with them. They pay 70 a day. What do you think? Okay, Grandpa Han, just find someone. We'll finish it one day and start tomorrow. After these days, Zhao Xinyu has accumulated more than 70,000 yuan in his hands. He knows in his heart that as long as the vegetables are grown, this money will not be there at all. Next words. Before going to Tianyi Garden the next day, Zhao Xinyu transplanted the vegetable seedlings in the space and put them in a prepared box. Then he rode to Tianyi Garden. During this period of time, his vegetable business had already started in Tianyi Garden. Not only the residents of Tianyi Garden, but also the nearby residents would wait for him at the gate of the community early every day, so Zhao Xinyu went over and, within half an hour, a cart of vegetables was completely sold. These days, some residents in the community also want Zhao Xinyu to deliver them in the evening, and the owners of several nearby restaurants want to buy vegetables at high prices, but Zhao Xinyu refuses them all. It's not that he doesn't want to have money. Before he got the space, he was afraid of poverty. Of course he wanted to have more money, but he also knows that big trees attract the wind. After his vegetables became popular in Tianyi Garden, I don't know how many vendors also want to come to Tianyi Garden. However, the taste of their vegetables means that no matter who comes, the residents only his vegetables are recognized. His business can go twice a day like during the Chinese New Year, but he knows that if this happens, the residents of nearby communities will be attracted immediately. How will the vendors at the entrance of those communities look at him? If they do something dirty, if so, there is absolutely no way he can do it. Zhao Xinyu doesn't deliver many vegetables here, so the vegetable fans in nearby communities and restaurant owners who want to buy his vegetables have also started to think about it. They are all secretly asking about the origin of Zhao Xinyu's vegetables. Someone even followed me secretly. What made them depressed was that Zhao Xinyu seemed to feel that someone was following them, so he rode a tricycle in circles in the alley to get rid of them. In fact, this was not Zhao Xinyu's original intention, but he had experienced too much over the years, which made him develop the habit of being cautious. He didn't know that it was because of his caution that many people who wanted to find him were unable to do so. After selling vegetables, Zhao Xinyu returned to the purchasing station before daybreak. He parked his car and began to transplant the grapes transplanted from the space under the wall near the smelly ditch. When he was transplanting grapes, Han Tianliang came over with about 10 people, 6 old people and 4 middle-aged women. When these people came, they didn't say much at all. They just asked Zhao Xinyu how to grow vegetables, and then started to do it. Transplant. In one day, 1/3 of the 10-acre yard was planted. This made Zhao Xinyu very excited. When paying for the work, each person was given an extra 10 yuan. After Han Tianliang took the people away, he and Heifeng took a simple bite, turned on the tap water, and then mixed the space water with the tap water to water the vegetable seedlings transplanted today. When Han Tianliang and the others came over the next day, they saw that none of the seedlings transplanted yesterday had wilted. Not to mention that there was no wilting, the seedlings seemed to be a little longer than those planted yesterday. This was Han Tianliang. At dawn, all farmers were surprised. Xinyu, did you use any chemical fertilizer? Han Tianliang asked with a smile, looking at the traces of watering in the vegetable patch. Zhao Xinyu chuckled and pointed to the yard. Grandpa Han, look at the fertilizer in my yard. Don't worry, I won't use any fertilizer on my vegetables. When the vegetables are ready to eat, I will send them to you. By the way, the contracting procedures for Luoha have been completed. If you are in a hurry today, I will bring it to you tomorrow. It took Han Tianliang and 10 people 3.5 days to plant all the vegetables in the courtyard. Zhao Xinyu was also grateful to these people. Everyone was paid according to 4 days' wages, especially Han Tianliang's. Gave 400, just when Han Tianliang and the others were about to leave, the large fence raised with wooden sticks collapsed to the ground. A middle-aged man in his 30s walked in through the fence, followed by 6 or 7 young people in flashy clothes behind him. Han Tianliang and the 10 people who followed him saw the middle-aged man. His face changed at the same time. The middle-aged man was also from Zhihanling. His name was Zhao Ximing. A few years ago, I made a lot of money doing some small projects outside. After I came back, I even contracted the water tower in the village. Because I had money, I made trouble in the village all day long. Most of the people in the village were old, weak, women and children. Over time, they became arrogant and became Westerners. Han Ling's first tyrant, and wherever he is, something will definitely happen. Now Zhao Xinyu suddenly came here. Everyone expected that Zhao Ximing came here because Zhao Xinyu used tap water to water vegetables in the past few days. Zhao Ximing glanced at Han Tianliang and laughed. Uncle Han, you happen to be here, so I can go find you. Han Tianliang's eyes flickered a few times. Ximing, what do you want from me? Zhao Ximing glanced sideways at Zhao Xinyu and said, his name seems to be Zhao Xinyu. It was you who settled his household registration in our village and gave him the Luoha River and the wasteland in the Luoha River. Han Tianliang nodded. I can indeed handle this matter. The village committee has approved it. Zhao Ximing smiled coldly. I don't care whether he is from Zhihanling or not, and I don't care if the village gave him the smelly ditch and the wasteland, but he used tap water to water the vegetables. This yard has almost 10. Come on, how much do you get from this day? Han Tianliang was slightly startled and patted his forehead. Ximing, Xinyu told me about this several times, but I forgot about it. It's not that there is no water here, so he used tap water to water it. He also said it according to the price of water land in other places, you will be given 10 yuan for watering 1 acre of land. This yard will be 100 yuan per watering for 10 acres as you mentioned. Uncle Han, you have been dealing with farmland all your life. You should know that these vegetables are not the same as crops. Now they use more water than crops. After a while, you will water them every 3 days. I don't come here often. Who knows how many times he watered it. I also heard that you were kind to him, so let me give you a favor, 3,000 yuan a year, paid in one lump sum. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 12 Shocking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Han Tianliang and the others were stunned when they heard Zhao Xinyu's words. They were all farmers. The people in the village worked hard for a year, and they could only earn 300 to 500 yuan from 1 acre of land. The current purchase station only has 10 acres of land at most, and Zhao Xinyu's asking price is 3,000. This includes vegetables and labor. In the end, Zhao Xinyu doesn't pay any money, which is considered good. Xinyu, this is too much. This kid Xinyu has a hard life. He just wants to make a living by growing vegetables, so be it. Before Han Tianliang could finish speaking, Zhao Xinyu raised his hand and looked at Zhao Xinyu. Cripple, you should have heard what I said just now. 3,000 a year. Get the money now. If you don't get the money, I'll have someone take care of the food right away. It was pulled out. As soon as he spoke, the little gangsters who followed him immediately walked towards the vegetable patch, planning to start pulling vegetables. Zhao Xinyu, what do you want to do? Han Tianliang stopped this time, his face darkened, and he said angrily. Zhao Xinyu's face darkened. Uncle Han, you still think this is the past, and I am giving you face. Without you, I think 3,000 yuan is a bit short. Grandpa Han, 3,000 is 3,000. Zhao Xinyu didn't want to embarrass Han Tianliang, and he also knew that if he really grew vegetables, he might be able to earn back the 3,000 yuan in one day. Hearing what Zhao Xinyu said, Zhao Xinyu was also stunned. He also knew that he wanted too much. The reason why he did not fall out with Han Tianliang was because he wanted Han Tianliang to talk about it. He would only need to get 1,000 and 5,000 by then, but he didn't unexpectedly. Zhao Xinyu agreed so easily, which made him regret a little and regretted that he asked for a lower price. Then what are you waiting for? Get the money. I want to know that this 3,000 is my annual watering fee plus my water bill. Zhao Xinyu was slightly startled. It refers to this yard. If you want to plant that piece of wasteland, you can pay an extra 5,000. Zhao Xinyu shook his head and said, I don't plan to grow vegetables over there just yet. Come and I'll transfer the money to you. After transferring the money, Zhao Xinyu left without stopping. Han Tianliang kept shaking his head and looked at Zhao Xinyu. Xinyu, you don't know Zhao Xinyu. I'm worried that he will come to trouble you. Zhao Xinyu smiled faintly, but there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Grandpa Han, we have already given him the water money, what else can he do to cause trouble for me? Xinyu, you gave him too much. How much can you earn in a year from your 10 acres of land? In total, he earns more than you, an old man said, shaking his head. Grandpa Wang, I'm just giving it a try. If I don't make money this year, I won't plant it next year and will continue to collect rags. After sending Han Tianliang and the others away, Zhao Xinyu looked at the fallen dashilan, and thinking about what Han Tianliang said, he left the dashilan on one side and rode away. At night, the original large fence had been chopped into firewood, and the original large fence had been replaced by a large iron gate. Once the large iron gate was closed, nothing in the compound could be seen outside. The reason why he changed the big iron gate was to prevent people from harming the vegetables. On the other hand, he knew that the vegetables in the courtyard would definitely attract people's attention. Now that the big iron gate is closed, people outside can't see anything at all. They don't have to worry about it. In the following time, he would go to Tianyi garden every day. When he came back, he would fiddle with the vegetables in the garden. In more than a month, the vegetables in the garden had grown to nearly 1 meter, because tomatoes, cucumbers, and beans all needed to be put on shelves, and just bamboo had to be bought several times, and since he couldn't handle it all by himself, he could only use Han Tianliang and the same 10 people as last time. When they entered the yard, they were stunned when they saw tomatoes more than 1 meter high, cucumbers and bean seedlings lying on the ground, among them, Han Tianliang in them. Others have been dealing with farmland almost all their lives. They also plant vegetables in the yard every year, but they have never heard that tomatoes can grow to more than 1 meter in more than a month. You know they grow tomatoes, and it takes at least 50 days or even longer to grow to over 1 meter and ready to bloom. If it weren't for the fact that they couldn't see any fertilizer bags in the yard, they really wouldn't believe that the vegetables grown in the yard didn't use any pesticides or fertilizers. When Han Tianliang and the others were setting up the shelf, a barking sound attracted everyone's attention. They saw a large dog with dark fur and a shiny head of 1.23 meters coming out of a room, barking and coming towards them. This caused Han Tianliang and the others' expressions to change dramatically, and a middle-aged woman in her 30s said urgently, "Xinyu, hurry up, stop him. Black wind." When Shit Pui heard this, the big dog stopped immediately, wagging its tail, and jumped towards Zhao Xinyu, rubbing its brain against Zhao Xinyu's body. Han Tianliang looked at the big dog and then at Zhao Xinyu. "Xinyu, this is Black Wind. You must know that when he helped plant vegetables last month, Hafen was only 70 or 80 centimeters in size. In the past month, Hafen has grown stronger than ordinary big dogs. They really didn't expect it at all." Zhao Xinyu laughed, took off the mask he was wearing, and patted Hafeng's big head. "Hafeng, you've seen Grandpa Han and the others before, so don't scream indiscriminately in the future." What surprised Han Tianliang and the others was that Hafeng glanced at them a few times and growled at them a few times, but did not yell again. "Xinyu." Han Tianliang was about to praise Zhao Xinyu for a few words, but when he saw Zhao Xinyu's face, his mouth opened wide and his eyes showed deep shock. Zhao Xinyu has been living in the compound since his accident last year. Han Tianliang certainly knows what Zhao Xinyu looks like. His face is full of scars and half of his face is pitch black, but it's different now. There are almost no scars on the face, and the originally dark half of the face has become very light. If you don't look carefully, you might think it's a little pot black on your face from work. Zhao Xinyu didn't know what happened to Han Tianliang. He took a few steps and asked with a smile, "Grandpa Han, what's going on? You saw Hafen when he was young." Han Tianliang stared at Zhao Xinyu's legs. "Xinyu, when did your legs and face recover?" Zhao Xinyu laughed and raised his hand to touch his face. "Grandpa Han, you also know that I graduated from a University of Traditional Chinese Medicine. I once learned a few recipes from my grandfather and tried to adjust them, and it turned out to be somewhat effective. It'll be good if you can recover. I heard old man Su say that before your accident, many units wanted you. If you can recover, you don't have to suffer here." Zhao Xinyu smiled lightly. If there was no space, what he wanted most was to recover, but now he really didn't have much expectations for going to work. "By the way, Grandpa Han, the grapes on the east wall are about to be put on the shelves. I have already bought thick bamboos over there. After you finish your work here, help set up the grape shelves. How can it be possible with those dry grape branches you planted?" Han Tianliang went to the east wall without believing in evil. When he came back, he kept shaking his head. He saw that all the dry branches planted last month under the east wall were alive, and the vines were nearly 2 meters long. What shocked him even more was that there was still a gap between the leaves and the vines. There are stamens like sesame seeds. At this time, Han Tianliang really didn't know how to ask Zhao Xinyu. In just this moment, he felt too much shock. In 2 days, Han Tianliang and the others built racks for all the tomatoes, cucumbers, beans and grapes under the east wall. The others got their wages and left, but Han Tianliang did not leave. "Xinyu, these tomatoes, eggplants, and cucumbers are all on the shelves. Do you know how to take care of vegetables?" Zhao Xinyu's eyes flickered a few times. He knew how to take care of vegetables, but this was Duomu who asked him to take care of it alone, and he was really too busy. "Grandpa Han, there will be a meeting, but I can't take care of so much. Why don't you find a few people to help take care of it? Don't worry, at the current salary, I will give you 2,000 and 5,000 a month. If the time comes, if the benefits are good, I will give you a little more." "Xinyu, that's not what I meant. Once these cucumbers and beans are put on the shelves, they will bear fruit soon. I also took a look at that time and found that the spinach and rapeseed you picked can already be sold. I want to ask you what's next. What to do. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 13, Picking Up People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Zhao Xinyu was stunned for a moment, then he laughed. Grandpa Han, I have made an agreement with Han Li and the others. If my side is good, they will come back to help me. Han Tianliang's eyes lit up when he heard Zhao Xinyu's words. He had been in Zaihanling. He had extremely deep feelings for Zaihanling. When Han Jun and Han Li went out to work, he did not agree. Now if Zhao Xinyu can bring the 2 brothers back, that is what he would like to see most. A month ago, he did not believe that Zhao Xinyu could make money by growing vegetables, but this time he came here and he believed it in his heart. Zhao Xinyu can definitely make money by growing vegetables. I'll call them when I get back and ask them to come back right away. Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, Grandpa Han, let me make the call. After you make the call, I will make the call. They all think that we are working together to deceive them. You want to find someone to help you take care of it these days. Wait for cucumber. If the tomatoes can be sold, I will let them come back. Okay, you make the call. I'll come over early tomorrow. In at least 4 or 5 days, spinach and rapeseed can be sold. You have nothing to do these days. Go out and find some suitable places. After sending Han Tianliang away, Zhao Xinyu went to the rapeseed patch. Although they had been watered in the morning, the rapeseed leaves in the rapeseed patch were all fat and green, just like cabbage. One of them was at least half a caddy in size. The rapeseed with water drops looks even more crystal clear under the sunlight, as beautiful as jade. Staring at the rapeseed in the vegetable patch, Zhao Xinyu's eyes kept flickering. Compared to vegetables such as tomatoes and cucumbers, although there are not many rapeseed and spinach grown, there are more than 1 acre of each type. These vegetables are disposable vegetables, and they are left behind. If the ground is left in the ground for too long, it will bolt and bloom. At that time, the only choice is to cut it off and feed it to sheep and rabbits. He knew the taste of the vegetables watered by space water. He could guarantee that if he brought the rapeseed and spinach to Tianyi Garden, there would be no problem in selling them. However, he also knows that he will be busier in the coming days. There is no way he can sell all the vegetables on his own. He didn't want others to discover the secret, and seeing that the vegetables would be sold soon made Zhao Xinyu confused. He simply didn't think about it and rode away. For a day, Zhao Xinyu rode around aimlessly, trying to find his own business opportunities, solve his own problems, and find a way to sell the vegetables he grew. He didn't know how many vegetable shops he went to, but as soon as he said he had some vegetables he wanted to sell, they didn't give him any chance at all and just pushed him out. When Zhao Xinyu was invited out by a shop owner again, he had no patience. He looked up at the darkened sky. He didn't go home, so he found a fast food restaurant nearby and had a simple bite. After eating, he took out his mobile phone and took a look, and then he couldn't help but smile bitterly. He was like a headless fly looking for places that sold rapeseed and spinach. He just took a bite of food. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Thinking about not finding any sales, Zhao Xinyu was also upset. He went to the alley where the electric bicycles were placed and rode back. He was so absent-minded that he didn't notice that there was a woman smelling of alcohol lying in the carriage of the number 3 bus. There was a lot of vomit in the carriage. And a lot of vomit is still on the nose and mouth. After returning to the compound, he locked the door, and when he entered the house, Zhao Xinyu discovered that there was a person in the carriage. When he went over, his expression changed, because the woman in the carriage was already dying. He quickly wiped away the vomit on the woman's mouth and nose, and put his hand on the woman's wrist. After a moment, Zhao Xinyu's expression changed. Zhao Xinyu knew from feeling the pulse that the woman was not drunk, but drugged. He took out his cell phone and wanted to call the police, but then he smiled bitterly. His experiences over the years had made him develop the habit of caution. Now that he was on the phone, the person was in his car and still in his yard. If this meant anything, he was even if you jump into the Yellow River, you won't be able to escape. Looking at the woman who was already in a deep coma, Zhao Xinyu's eyes flickered a few times. The words that his grandfather had taught him flashed in his mind. Without any hesitation, he carried the woman into his room, taking off his clothes that were covered in vomit. He found the silver needles he bought, took a deep breath, the silver light flashed, and pierced the woman's chest one by one. More than half an hour later, Zhao Xinyu took off the silver needle and took the woman's pulse again. He felt relieved and found that the woman's pulse had calmed down and there would be no problem as long as she sobered up. He placed the woman on the bed. When leaving, he saw clothes on the ground that smelled of alcohol. Thinking that the woman could not leave tomorrow wearing these clothes, he shook his head and fetched water to wash the clothes before leaving. While Zhao Xinyu was treating the woman, in a private room of a hotel, a young man in his mid-20s had a pale face, and there were several broken plates in front of him. There were 3 trembling young men at the door. Master Hu, Du Mingnan's car is still there. We also checked that the bag is also in the car. She. Trash, you can't even look at me personally. This time I let Du Mengnan slip away again. It will be difficult to find another opportunity. If I continue to look for someone, if the potion wears off, everything will be over. Master Hu, Du Mengnan left from the kitchen. We. Stop talking nonsense and go find her right away. I won't forgive you for missing my big event. Because there were people at home, Zhao Xinyu did not dare to go into the space to pick vegetables. He also slept in for the first time in more than a month. While he was sleeping, the entire Pengcheng was in chaos. I don't know how many people were looking for him in the streets and alleys. Later, the police were even called in. And on the road in front of Zhao Xinyu's compound, there were even more people coming and going looking for it. Perhaps he came back a little late yesterday, plus he was treating the woman and doing laundry. When Zhao Xinyu woke up, it was already bright. After sitting up, he immediately thought of the woman. Thinking that Han Tianliang said he would come over today, he hurriedly got up. When he went to his room, he saw that the door was wide open and the room was empty. The woman from yesterday had left at some point. Black Wind, after a few low roars, Black Wind arrived beside him like a whirlwind, its big head staring at him. Heifeng, this man left by himself. Black Wind nodded and growled a few times. Zhao Xinyu sighed, thinking that he hadn't given Heifeng anything to eat last night, so he went back to the room to make food for Heifeng. While he was making food for Heifeng, Han Tianliang led people into the yard and started taking care of the vegetables in the yard. In the next few days, the vegetables in the yard changed day by day. Rapeseed and spinach were available for sale, but there was still no market. And not long after Zhao Xinyu came back from Tianyi Garden this morning, Heifeng arrived in front of the gate screaming wildly. Heifeng, Zhao Xinyu, who had just washed his face and was about to make something to eat, heard Heifeng shouting. He immediately went out and walked quickly to the door. He knew someone was coming, but it was definitely not Han Tianliang and the others who came here often. When he opened the door, Zhao Xinyu was slightly startled. He saw a woman standing in front of the door, and a red car parked on the roadside not far away. Although Zhao Xinyu didn't recognize the make, he could recognize it. This sedan is a valuable sports car. The woman was dressed extremely fashionably. She was in her 20s, about 1.7 meters tall, with a pretty face and long black silky hair. She was wearing an unbranded lavender skirt and a pair of white sandals. There was no smile on her face. It gives people a feeling that strangers should not approach. Glancing at the woman, Zhao Xinyu felt vaguely familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen her before. Considering that he had been delivering food for several years, he had met countless people, so he didn't think much about it. Who are you looking for? What surprised Zhao Xinyu was that the woman just glanced at him sideways and walked into the yard. Heifeng, like a human being, followed the woman without saying a word after seeing this stunning beauty. Behind him, the master Zhao Xinyu was left behind. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 14 The Empire Sets Sail. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Staring at He Feng, who was following the woman, Zhao Xinyu even wanted to kill him. What was even more confusing in his heart was that He Feng, not to mention that he was following someone else, could not get close to this guy except himself. Han Tianliang and Hanli had been in the courtyard for a long time. Even when they called He Feng ignored him. Now this unsatisfactory guy is following a woman he has never met. This makes him feel uncomfortable. Zhao Xinyu couldn't understand. The woman looked through several rooms, then looked at Zhao Xinyu, who is the owner of this yard. It's me, you? That the woman was also stunned. She looked Zhao Xinyu up and down, then turned to look at the tricycle and asked, who is driving that tricycle? I am the only one in this yard, so of course I am the one who runs it. The woman nodded, with a trace of gratitude in her eyes. She pointed to the vegetables in the courtyard. The vegetables in this courtyard are in good quality, and a lot of chemical fertilizers are used. Zhao Xinyu's heart moved. Don't worry, the vegetables don't use any chemical fertilizers or pesticides. I just made a mushroom and rapeseed. You will know after you try it. Zhao Xinyu said this politely, but he didn't expect the woman to have any excuse at all, so she went directly to his room and started using her chopsticks. After taking a bite, the woman was stunned and said, "You made this dish." But then she thought that there was only one person and one dog in this yard. She didn't say anything. After a few minutes, there was only an empty plate left with a plate of mushrooms and rapeseed. Looking at the empty plate, Zhao Xinyu was speechless. How could he regard himself as the master? I'm Du Mengnan, thank you for saving me that day. When Zhao Xinyu was in a daze, the woman turned around and stretched out her hand. Zhao Xinyu was stunned. He felt like he had seen a woman before. When the woman mentioned it, he realized that she was the woman he picked up that night. Zhao Xinyu, it's not a big deal. You don't need to thank me. But in the future, it's best not to be with the people you ate with that day. You were not drunk that day, but drugged. Du Mengnan's expression suddenly changed. Her pretty face turned livid and despicable. When she cursed these 2 words, Du Mengnan's eyes were filled with tears. She always felt that she was drunk that day, but she didn't want to be drugged. If she hadn't met Zhao Xinyu that day, what would have happened to her? He couldn't even think about it. Zhao Xinyu sighed slightly. That's why you came here. Du Mengnan nodded, thank you very much. If I had met you that day, I would. It's okay, it's easy. I have studied Chinese medicine. If I had not studied Chinese medicine, I would have called the police that day. Then tell me what happened that day. Zhao Xinyu didn't hide anything and told Du Mengnan what happened that day. Du Mengnan's pretty face turned red and she felt lucky in her heart. This is 100,000 yuan, thank you for saving me that day. Zhao Xinyu smiled lightly, I do need money, but I will rely on my efforts. Traditional Chinese medicine is about saving lives and healing the wounded, so it is necessary to help you. You can take the money back. If nothing happens, you can leave. Du Mengnan was slightly startled. She had never thought that Zhao Xinyu would say such a thing. Zhao Xinyu was wearing ordinary clothes. There was only a TV in the room that he didn't know whether it could be turned on, and nothing else. She knew that Zhao Xinyu was living a very happy life. It was painful, but he was unmoved when faced with 100,000, which made Du Mengnan inexplicably have a good impression of Zhao Xinyu. I'm sorry. After taking the money back, Du Mengnan looked at the lush vegetables, and his heart flashed. Zhao Xinyu, you have so many vegetables. I also tasted them just now. The rapeseed tastes so good. I wonder if your vegetables are marketable. I have a friend who happens to own a hotel. If you haven't ordered it, I can give it to you. You make a call. Zhao Xinyu was really tempted by these words. You must know that he has been worrying about this matter these days. Now that Du Mengnan has a way, of course he is willing. This is my first year of planting vegetables. You can rest assured. There are definitely no pesticides or fertilizers in them, and they are not genetically modified products. I have been worrying about sales these days. If you have a way, ask your friends to come and take a look. After a while, Du Mengnan shook his phone and said, she will come over soon. You go and get some mushrooms and rapeseed. Let her try it when she comes over. More than half an hour later, each one was dressed in professional suits. A tall, good-looking professional woman dressed as a strong woman hurried into the compound. Jiamin, come on, let's try this dish first. Du Mengnan did not introduce her immediately, but directly brought the woman into Zhao Xinyu's room. Looking at the dark room, the woman looked a little disgusted, but after looking at Du Mengnan, she still picked up the chopsticks and took a small bite. After taking a bite, she was slightly startled, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. She had a special status and had tasted countless dishes, but this was really the first time she had tasted such a dish. General. After saying one word, the woman's expression froze, she smiled awkwardly, and then continued. Whoever made this dish, even the hotel chef may not be able to make it. Du Mengnan pointed at Zhao Xinyu. Zhao Xinyu made it. He also grew this vegetable himself. I have also seen it. There is not a single fertilizer bag in the whole yard. This vegetable is purely natural. How about it? The vegetables in this courtyard, if we get the hotel, will sales increase? The quality is good, and sales will definitely increase. But if he can also go to the hotel, I can guarantee that the hotel will become popular. Did Zhao Xinyu hear that? I don't know how good your cooking skills are, but for this dish of mushrooms and rapeseed, you can go to their hotel. Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, I don't like to be restricted. Although growing vegetables is a bit hard, the good thing is that I am free. In fact, it is not my cooking skills that are good, but mainly rapeseed. Du Mengnan and Du Mengnan were slightly stunned. When the woman looked at Du Mengnan nodded to her. The woman chuckled, okay, starting from tomorrow, prepare 300 kilograms of rapeseed and 300 kilograms of spinach every day. You can deliver them to us. Pengcheng Hotel. Jiamin, look at his legs and feet. I forgot. In this case, if you are ready, I will find someone to come over and buy it. The price will be based on the market wholesale price. By the way, Zhao Xinyu, you also left my phone number. When the cucumbers, beans, green peppers, and tomatoes are available for sale, give me a call and I'll come over and take a look. When Du Mengnan and the others left, Du Mengnan left these words behind. In the following days, Zhao Xinyu was a little depressed. He originally thought that Du Mengnan would not come back, but Du Mengnan would come to the compound every now and then. He didn't have much communication with Zhao Xinyu when he came to the compound. He just wandered around in the compound, seeming to regard the vegetable garden as a park. What's even more disgusting is that Heifeng, a guy who never pays attention to others, as soon as Du Mengnan appears, he would 100% leave Zhao Xinyu to find Du Mengnan and become Du Mengnan's little follower. After getting tired, Du Mengnan had no intention of leaving. She went directly to Zhao Xinyu's room, went to sleep on the big bed, and ate when she woke up. She seemed to regard this place as her home. As the number of visits increased, Zhao Xinyu's room also changed. The big bed was replaced with a new one, the kitchen tools were all available, and the TV and refrigerator were also brought into the room. However, Zhao Xinyu did not buy these, but it was handled by Du Mengnan. Of course Zhao Xinyu is not willing to let Du Mengnan spend money, but according to Du Mengnan, the air in this vegetable garden is clear, and he may bring friends over in the future. The appearance of the house will make them laugh. This was also blocked by Zhao Xinyu. If Zhao Xinyu hadn't stopped him, Du Mengnan would have even asked someone to demolish the simple house and rebuild it again. During this period, cucumbers, beans, green peppers, and tomatoes also began to be sold one after another. However, except for one cart being sent to Tianyi Garden every day, the rest were taken over by the hotel. With the increase in vegetable varieties and word of mouth from diners, the vegetables grown by Zhao Xinyu have completely become famous in Pengcheng, and the streets and alleys are talking about the dishes sold in Pengcheng Hotel. In the past, the signature dishes of Pengcheng Hotel were all expensive dishes such as raw seafood. But now the hotel is booming, and the reason why it is full of customers is not because of these signature dishes, but because of ordinary dishes that can be eaten in small restaurants. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 15: The Influence of Vegetables. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Ordinary dishes that can be eaten in any small restaurant have become the most popular dishes in Pengcheng Hotel in the past few days. The most ordinary dishes are often ordered several times by people at the same table. According to diners, these ordinary dishes taste so delicious that even the tongue wants to swallow them after one bite. After eating it once, it makes people want to stop. However, the same dishes cannot be compared with Pengcheng Hotel, not to mention stir-fries. The simplest tomatoes and cucumbers don't require any seasoning at all. They taste better than ordinary fruits, and there is a special fragrance in your mouth after eating them. Because Pengcheng Hotel's business was so booming, it aroused the jealousy of colleagues. They secretly reported Pengcheng Hotel, thinking that some addictive contraband must have been added to Pengcheng Hotel's dishes, or that the vegetables themselves were used. A large number of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and even genetically modified products. Although the health department launched an investigation, the results announced by the health department a few days later surprised countless people. The tomatoes, cucumbers and other vegetables mentioned in the reporting materials did not contain any contraband, hormones, pesticides or the like. It contains 3 to 4 times the nutrients of similar vegetables. As soon as the news spread, not only Pengcheng, but also surrounding villages and towns became a sensation. Countless restaurant owners and vegetable vendors were inquiring about the source of the vegetables in Pengcheng Hotel. They all know in their hearts that as long as there are vegetables like this for sale, it will be difficult for their store not to become popular. In the office of the general manager of Pengcheng Hotel, Du Mengnan was sitting in the general manager's position, with a faint smile on his face. During this period of time, the originally tepid hotel occupancy rate skyrocketed, and he was busy. Sometimes many diners would rather queue than go to other hotels. Of course Du Mengnan knew why the hotel had such a high attendance rate. It was all because of the vegetables grown in Zhao Xinyu's courtyard. There was a knock on the door, and the smile on Du Mengnan's face disappeared instantly, and there was an aura of keeping strangers away from his body. Come in. As soon as the office door rang, a woman about the same age as Du Mengnan came in, wearing a professional suit that showed her sophistication. General Manager, I just made statistics. In just half a month, the business has been the same as last month. The inspection report from the health department even advertised our hotel. Now everyone who wants to eat has to queue up. Du Mengnan smiled and said, Jiamin, you didn't look down on the vegetables grown by Zhao Xinyu at first. What about it now? I heard that the whole Pengcheng people are looking for Zhao Xinyu. Please tell me to go to Zhao Xinyu's place. People pulling food must be careful. If other hotels find out, our hotel's advantage will be lost. Xiao Jiamin nodded. General Manager, there is one more thing. I have been to our kitchen several times, and I have tasted the mushrooms and rapeseed they made, but I always feel that the mushrooms and rapeseed made by the kitchen are not as good as those made by the lame man. Tasty? Du Mengnan glared at her. Jiamin, it's a bit disrespectful to say this behind your back. I have investigated Zhao Xinyu, and he is the only survivor of the serial murder case last year. He is already suffering very much. This will be said in the future. Don't mention it. I have been to his place several times in the past few days, and the dishes he makes are really delicious. I have said it several times, but this guy is not interested at all and does not want to come to our hotel. It's him. I heard that he was resuscitated for several days. At that time, all the doctors sentenced him to death. This guy's life is really good if he can survive. By the way, General Manager, how do you know him? Unexpectedly, as soon as she said these words, Du Mengnan's face turned gloomy, and Xiao Jiamin's face changed. She didn't know that she was wrong about that, but in an instant, Du Mengnan's expression returned to normal. Jiamin, go and talk to the person pulling the food, and I'll call Zhao Xinyu. Although Zhao Xinyu doesn't care about worldly affairs, he goes to Tianyi Garden to sell vegetables every morning, and he hears more or less about things in Pengcheng Hotel. People in the community also asked, intentionally or unintentionally, whether the vegetables needed for Pengcheng Hotel's dishes came from the same place as the vegetables he sold. When he was selling vegetables the next day, Zhao Xinyu saw many well-dressed people, and there were vehicles following him on the way back from selling vegetables. This made Zhao Xinyu understand that he could no longer go to Tianyi Garden selling vegetables on the side. Full of worries, he returned to the compound, boiled the ointment and applied it. While he was cooking, he heard black wind roaring in front of the door. His eyes flickered a few times and he looked at his phone. Logically speaking, Han Tianyang and the others at this time won't come. When Zhao Xinyu opened the door, he was slightly startled. He saw Du Mengnan standing there handsomely. He glanced at the other side of the road out of habit, but found that this time Du Mengnan was not driving her sports car. Why didn't you drive today? Zhao Xinyu asked with a smile, although the two of them didn't talk much during this period, but they were at least acquaintances. Du Mengnan turned aside and entered the courtyard, closed the door. I have something to say. Have you eaten yet? If not, I'll order more. I haven't eaten yet. Let's make some millet porridge from your side. Zhao Xinyu nodded and started making porridge and cooking. What's the matter with coming here so early? Zhao Xinyu asked during the meal. How about I take care of all the vegetables in your yard? Zhao Xinyu smiled lightly. I know your friend is from Pengcheng Hotel. Pengcheng Hotel is the largest 5-star hotel in Pengcheng, but there are nearly 10 acres of vegetables here. No matter how booming the hotel's business is, it won't be able to use so many vegetables. I open a vegetable shop. Du Mengnan gave him a big eye roll and then frowned. What is that smeared on your face? It smells like medicine. Zhao Xinyu laughed, ate the millet porridge in the bowl in a few mouthfuls, and then went to wash his face. Because Du Mengnan was there, he did not wash the ointment on his legs, but when he came back from washing his face, he saw Du Mengnan looking at him in a daze. What's wrong? Zhao Xinyu asked casually without thinking too much. Your face has recovered, Du Mengnan said with a hint of surprise. You must know that when Du Mengnan came to the door for the first time, although Zhao Xinyu's scars had faded, the blackness on the other half of his face was still very obvious. How long has passed, the scars on his face are gone, and the blackness is gone at all. Although he is dressed in ordinary clothes, he is at least a handsome young man. Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, thanks to the few prescriptions that Grandpa collected back then. Du Mengnan, who had investigated Zhao Xinyu, had seen the photos of Zhao Xinyu when he was discharged from the hospital, and the person in the photo and Zhao Xinyu at this moment could be described as worlds apart. Now that Zhao Xinyu's appearance had recovered, she was instantly impressed by Zhao Xinyu's traditional Chinese medicine skills. Got interested. Zhao Xinyu, you told me that you had a car accident last year. After such a long time, you can still recover from your injuries. Your prescription is really miraculous. Traditional Chinese medicine is magical. If you have a friend who has any scars, just tell him and I will help him make ointment. Although it may not be able to completely recover, at least it can alleviate it a lot. Du Mengnan nodded, and she suddenly thought that she came here for vegetables. Zhao Xinyu, you should think carefully about what I told you just now. Du Mengnan, I understand what you mean, but I plan to open a vegetable store myself. My friends will be back in the next 2 days and they will help me take care of it. It's good that you know, and you also know that competition is very fierce now. Retailing is always more profitable than wholesale. I won't supply star-rated hotels for the time being, but I can't control small restaurants. Du Mengnan's eyes lit up. Thank you then, I'll leave first. When the two of them went out, Du Mengnan released it again. Zhao Xinyu's lame leg seemed to have changed. If you didn't look carefully, it was almost impossible to tell that Zhao Xinyu was a lame. This discovery made Du Mengnan feel even more disturbed. Just when the two of them walked to the door was suddenly pushed open. Han Li came in from the outside and almost bumped into Du Mengnan. Ah, Du Mengnan ducked, her feet tilted, and a heartbreaking pain came, and she couldn't help but fall down. Zhao Xinyu pulled her subconsciously, and Du Mengnan lay in his arms, as warm as the posture required. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 16, The First Step of Setting Sail. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Du Mengnan's delicate body trembled violently. You must know that except for the closest people, she has never been touched by such a warm posture since she was a child. Now she was being hugged by a young man who had only known her for a short time. Although Zhao Xinyu was afraid that she would fall, his instinct made her have an uncomfortable reaction. After helping Du Mengnan up, Zhao Xinyu glared at Han Li. When did you come back? You are so grown up and you are still so reckless. I came back yesterday. Xinyu, you're a good boy. You've already found a girlfriend. Let me introduce you to her. As soon as Han Li said these words, Du Mengnan, who was already ashamed, turned red in the face, and even her neck turned red. If there was a crack in the ground at this moment, she wanted to crawl into it. What nonsense are you talking about? This is Du Mengnan. I can sell my vegetables only because of Du Mengnan's help. Du Mengnan, this is my good buddy Han Li. Du Mengnan blushed and greeted Han Li. Han Li laughed and said, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. While talking, Han Li looked towards the big yard, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Although tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplants, beans and other vegetables had just matured in just a few days, the whole yard was full of life, just like the vegetable garden in his imagination. Totally different, the tomato seedlings are thick and thick, covered with tomatoes, green, light red, and bright red. There are at least 40 or 50 tomatoes hanging on the 1.56 meter tall seedling. So many tomatoes almost cover the leaves, and only the dark green leaves can be seen at the top. The cucumber shelf is more than 2 meters high. It is full of green and thorny cucumbers. The water mist condenses on the cucumbers, making each one look like a painting. Eggplants and green peppers are also very fruitful. Not to mention their size, they are of decent color. There are no leaves on the beans, and all you can see are beans that are more than a foot long. Han Li swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva, then went over to pick a cucumber, without wiping it off, and took a bite of it. Not only was it crisp and sweet, but there was also a faint fragrance in his mouth. You grew these all. After swallowing this mouthful of cucumbers, Han Li was in a daze. He was also a child from a rural area. He had been working outside in the past few years and had more knowledge, but he was still the first to produce such vegetables. Seen for the first time. And this taste was only eaten at Zhao Xinyu's place during the New Year period. The vegetable planting was successful and the injury was almost healed. Zhao Xinyu was now in a good mood, so the inferiority complex he had in the past slowly disappeared. Now Han Li was surprised. Zhao Xinyu certainly felt confident. He laughed and said, Han Li, you promised me after the new year that if my vegetables are marketable, you will come back to help me. Remember this? Han Li took another bite of cucumber and said, you don't need to tell me, but I heard from my dad that many hotels in Pengcheng are looking for your vegetables. I have decided to work with you from now on. By the way, my brother and the others I'll be back in a day or two. Have you figured out what to do? Du Mengnan, who had recovered, listened to the exchange between Han Li and Zhao Xinyu and sighed slightly in her heart. The vegetables grown by Zhao Xinyu tasted delicious. She dared to say that if Zhao Xinyu's vegetables were always supplied to Pengcheng Hotel, the hotel would definitely be able to outperform other hotels. Which is why she wants to order all the vegetables in the compound. Zhao Xinyu, now people in Pengcheng are looking for the vegetables you grow everywhere. You can find a place nearby to open a preserved vegetable business. The housing prices in this area are low and it is close to you. As long as I have vegetables, the business will definitely be good. Fire. Du Mengnan said softly. Zhao Xinyu's heart moved, and he looked at Han Li. Han Li, it seems that you and your brother's house is nearby. In the past, there was a local custom in rural areas, that is, if there were several sons in the family, before the son got married, the elders of the family would buy a property in the village for the son to use as a wedding house after the son got married. Han Li was stunned for a moment, nodded subconsciously, and pointed to the west side of the compound. It's just 2 ditches away from your yard, but it's just a rough house with nothing built. Didn't your brother say he was engaged? Where is his house? My 2 houses are in the same yard, each with 4 rooms. The bride price has wiped out all my father's savings over the years, so there is no money for decoration. Xinyu, why are you asking this? You don't want to use that yard to buy vegetables. Our village has not even had a vegetable seller for a year, let alone a vegetable seller. Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, let's go home first. Du Mengnan smiled lightly and said, you guys talk, I'm going back first. If you need funds, give me a call. After seeing Du Mengnan off, Han Li glanced at Zhao Xinyu and said, Xinyu, this Du Mengnan is a stunning beauty and looks like a nice person. You have to hurry up. What are you talking about? People drive sports cars and live in high-rise buildings. I am a vegetable seller. You think they can take a fancy to me? In the room, Han Li exclaimed repeatedly, it seems like you are really rich. You have all the household appliances and even the bed has been changed. Zhao Xinyu shook his head. He did not say that these things were bought by Du Mengnan. He was worried that Han Li would lie again. Han Li, please immediately find someone to go to your and your brother's yard and tidy it up. I will pay for all the expenses and the preserved vegetables will be grown there. Xinyu, this will work. Why, I can't bear to part with your new house. Looking at what you said, the houses in our village are not valuable. I don't feel bad about the houses, but the food here is good, but our place. Zhao Xinyu chuckled and said, Han Li, don't worry. You go find someone and take action immediately. By the way, is there a south room in that courtyard? Han Li smiled bitterly and said, not to mention it's the south room, it doesn't even have a courtyard wall. That's just right. I'll transfer 50,000 yuan to you. You can immediately find someone to enclose the yard and build the 2 south rooms first. The other areas will be built after a while. Han Li was still in a fog until he left the compound. He tried to calm down and took out his mobile phone. When he saw the extra 50,000 yuan on his bank card, Han Li was shocked and turned to look at Zhao Xinyu's compound. My heart suddenly became excited. He was urged to come back by his father Han Tianliang. His father said that Zhao Xinyu's vegetables are very popular and the money he makes every day is enough to cover half of their salary. He didn't believe it when he came back. Now it seems when he saw the money on his bank card, he finally believed his father's words. Zhao Xinyu originally didn't plan to go to Tianyi Garden to buy vegetables, but Han Li came back and asked him to decide to go there a few more times, firstly to save money, and secondly to advertise. When Zhao Xinyu was delivering food every day, Han Jun, Lu Ming, Huang Jijun, Wang Yulong, and Chai Jinquan also came back one after another. Like Han Li, they were dealt with by Zhao Xinyu every second, and then the 6 brothers went to work to open the shop. After several days of publicity, not only the residents at Tianyi Garden, but also the hotels and vendors who had been inquiring about the news, most of them knew that the vegetables they wanted to buy would open a stall in Xihanling, so they went in and out of Xihanling every day. I don't know how many people there are in Hanliang. In the eyes of the villagers, brothers Han Li and Han Jun were busy. They were preparing a wedding house for Han Jun. Although Zhao Xinyu was growing vegetables, not many people knew about it. And every day, Zhao Xinyu's door was closed tightly. Outsiders, even many villagers, don't know that the compound that used to be a waste collection station is full of vegetables. It is precisely because of this that many people who came to the village to inquire almost visited the village several times and could not find the place Zhao Xinyu mentioned, after Zhao Xinyu finished selling vegetables on this day, he looked at the people who were still gathered around and said with a smile, "Everyone, I won't come over tomorrow. Our stall will open tomorrow. If you need it, just go to Zhihanling, it's been open for 3 days, and all the vegetables are 30% off." "Xiao Zhao, I went to Zhihanling the day before yesterday and saw the shop you mentioned." "Are you kidding me?" a regular customer asked with a smile. "Uncle Li, how could it be? You may have gone to the wrong place. I will give you the specific directions." When Zhao Xinyu returned, the news quickly began to spread. Many hotel and restaurant owners became excited. Many people even went to the place immediately. As expected, they saw the 2 large rooms that had been renovated. In the store, several young people are already making final preparations. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 17. The aroma of wine is not afraid of deep alleys. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. That night, 7 people were busy for most of the night. Zhao Xinyu, Han Li, and Lu Ming were responsible for picking, and 4 people, Han Jun, Wang Yulong, Huang Jijun, and Chai Jinquan, were responsible for transporting. At around 4 o'clock in the morning, the 7 brothers gathered at Sizwa, which was about to open. Looking at the shelves filled with vegetables, Han Li asked with a hint of worry. "Xinyu, the shelves are so full, why do we have to fill up the warehouse? If we can't sell the vegetables will wither tomorrow." "Han Li, there are losses and profits in doing business. These are all grown at home. If we can't sell them today, the remaining vegetables will be given to the lonely elderly people in the village. Xinyu, there are about 10 acres in the compound. This time we picked almost 2 acres. It would be a pity if we give them all away. Otherwise, if we can't sell them, we will lower the price." Han Li glanced at Huang Jijun who was talking. "What 2 acres? Not to mention rapeseed and spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, eggplants, and green peppers were all picked just a small corner. You really don't know that Xinyu's hands and feet are so nimble. We picked them in the effort of 1 basket, he can pick 4 baskets. I sold vegetables every day during that time. I had to produce all the vegetables myself. 1 cart weighed about 2,000 kilograms. How could I do it if I didn't have quick hands and feet?" Zhao Xinyu said with a smile. But he knew in his heart that he was not quick with his hands and feet. Most of what he picked this time was picked from space. Lu Ming glanced at Zhao Xinyu. "Don't tell me, everyone grows vegetables, but this is the first time I have seen the vegetables grown by Xinyu. There are more than a dozen ripe tomatoes on 1 plant, and it keeps blooming, and I estimate that this tomato plant can produce at least 100 pounds of tomatoes in 1 crop. We may not be able to sell out all the preserved vegetables in this vegetable garden." Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, "Okay, everyone, stop talking and have a rest. It's going to be dawn soon." When the first ray of dawn appeared in the east, bursts of fireworks and firecrackers rang out, and the villagers in Zhihanling all turned their eyes in one direction. Many people were confused. They had never heard of anyone having a happy event. Now many people had nothing to do, so they all walked towards the place where the firecrackers were heard. After they passed by, they were stunned. They saw many people gathered in front of the new house Han Tianliang had prepared for his children, and the streets nearby were full of people. All are sedans. The eldest son of the Han family is getting married. Many people immediately thought of one thing. However, some people wondered why they were not notified when the eldest son of the Han family got married. They had a good relationship with the Han family, but when they walked over, they discovered that it was not Han Jun's wedding. They didn't know the people who squeezed out, and everyone was holding a big bag of vegetables in their hands. This reminded them of the constant flow of vegetables in the village these days. The stranger asked where there was a vegetable shop. Turn out to be. The villagers were confused. There were preserved vegetables in the residential areas in the city, not just on the streets. Why did so many people come to the village to buy vegetables? Out of curiosity, they wanted to go in and take a look at the preserved vegetables. Not to mention going in, but getting to the door is a problem. At this moment, Han Jun and the 6 of them who were among the vegetables were already busy like crazy. 3 people weighed and 3 people carried the vegetables. But even so, they were still too busy. What surprised them was that no one came to buy vegetables. When buying 1 or 2 kilograms, everyone starts with 5 kilograms or 10 kilograms, and some even start with 50 kilograms of each item. Only now did they know why Zhao Xinyu kept asking them to pick vegetables last night, and when this guy opened the door, he went back to pick vegetables. According to him, he went back to pick vegetables. It turns out that this guy had already expected that business would be booming today. In the middle of the morning, Lu Ming, who was sweating profusely, carried a box of tomatoes to Han Li and said, "Han Li, there are not many tomatoes and cucumbers left. No one here can leave, what should we do?" Han Li looked at the crowd of people who were almost overwhelmed with vegetables, and then looked at the people waiting in line outside the menu. Han Li's eyes flickered a few times. "Lu Ming, call my father and the others quickly and ask them to help. Whether the vegetables and preserved vegetables will be popular depends on today." When the Han Li brothers came back, Han Tianliang fully supported them, but Lu Ming and his 4 families were still reluctant. After all, the children went to work. It would be nicer to say that they would go out, and it would be easier to find a partner. But this time the village wanted to open a recipe. In their eyes, the preserved vegetables in the city are not necessarily profitable, and it is even less profitable in the village, so they didn't even go out this morning for fear that the villagers would make fun of them. After receiving the call, they were reluctant to help, but after all, they were their own children, so no matter how reluctant they were, they still went to Zhao Xinyu's side. When they entered Zhao Xinyu's yard and saw the vegetables grown in the yard, they realized why the children were following the young man who was still picking up waste last year. They have been farmers all their lives and grow vegetables every year, but after decades of farming, they can't help but feel ashamed. Compared with the vegetables in their yard, the vegetables they grow are really not even the slightest bit inferior. "Wang Hong, what are you doing standing still? Everyone is so busy over there at preserved vegetables. Just now Lu Ming called me and urged me to deliver the vegetables quickly." Han Tianliang, who was loading the truck over there, saw these people coming over. Vocal channel, there is strength in numbers, and Zhao Xinyu has not rested since he came back. He has been busy in the courtyard. Wang Hong and Han Tianliang do not need to pick vegetables and just load the tricycle. When they delivered the dishes to Kai Zui, Wang Hong and the others were stunned. They saw the whole street was full of strangers, and there was a long queue at the door of Kaizua. This made them so nervous. The hanging heart was completely relieved. Although all 5 families came over to help, there was still no time to rest. Han Li and the others did not know how many goods they sold in one day. It wasn't until after 9 o'clock in the evening that they sent away the last batch of guests, and there were very few vegetables left in the preserved vegetables. Han Jun glanced at the 5 members of the family, who were full of exhaustion but with excitement in their eyes. "Take some time to clean up and go to Sinyu's side. He has already prepared food." In the courtyard, looking at a large table of dishes that had been prepared, Han Li looked at Zhao Xinyu and said, "Xinyu, do you have any wine? I'm exhausted today. I'd like to drink some wine to relieve my fatigue." "Yes, how could you not be prepared? Han Li, there aren't any vegetables stored there. We'll pick them later. Drink less." "That's right, after these few days of work are over, let's have a good drink," Huang Jijun said with a smile. "Okay, then drink less." Han Jun and the others were almost at Zhao Xinyu's side during the Chinese New Year. They were also familiar with Zhao Xinyu's cooking skills, but Han Tianliang and the others had never eaten it. They were even more surprised when they ate it. They really didn't expect that Zhao Xinyu would cook such high cooking skills. After dinner, a group of people counted today's harvest. After counting, everyone was stunned. In just this day, more than 96,000 were sold. Xinyu, just now the decoration money is back, and you are rich, Han Li said with a hint of excitement. While talking, he placed a large bag of money in front of Zhao Xinyu. Zhao Xinyu smiled faintly and looked at Han Li and the other six. Han Li, how much can you get in a month outside? Han Li didn't even think about it. He looked at Huang Jijun and said, Jijun has the largest number, about 6,000 a month. We only have more than 4,000. After a month, we only have 2 or 3,000 in our hands. Let's do it, you six. From now on I will give you 10,000 yuan a month. I will take care of everything you eat, drink and poop. Grandpa Han, please come and help me if you have nothing to do. We have a family of 6,000 yuan. We will eat and drink at my place. What do you think? As soon as Zhao Xinyu said this, not only Han Li and his 6 brothers, but also Han Tianliang and 10 of them were stunned, and everyone's eyes were full of disbelief. In their initial thought, as long as the children came back and didn't ask for money from their families, it would be fine. Now Zhao Xinyu gave them 10,000 yuan each. This kind of salary is top not only in the village, but also in the city, and each of their families has one. There are still 6,000 in the month. There is no need to think about everyone's food and drink, which means that every month their family can get back 16,000 yuan without spending any money. This is something they dare not even think about. Xinyu, this is too much. If you hire people to sell or pull vegetables, it will only cost 2,000 to 3,000 a month. We also. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 18 The cantaloupe is ripe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Zhao Xinyu waved his hand and said, everyone helps me while I can, so for the time being I will do it this way. If I earn more in the future, I will increase your wages. After saying this, Zhao Xinyu thought of something else. Han Li, didn't you say you know the engineering team? The weather is getting hot soon. Not only the smell, but also the mosquitoes are swarming over there in the stinky ditch. We have nothing to do with it, but what would customers think if they knew our vegetables were grown next to the smelly ditch? So the top priority is to find a construction team immediately to clean up the smelly ditch completely. Han Li and the others were slightly stunned. They all looked at Han Tianliang and said, Dad, the smelly ditch belongs to the village. The village should help with this matter. Han Tianliang smiled bitterly and said, you also know the situation in the village. How can you have the money to do these things? Besides, the smelly ditch no longer belongs to the village. Xinyu has contracted the smelly ditch. Xinyu, you are crazy. Why are you contracting a smelly ditch? Why do you still have to spend money to clean the smelly ditch every year? Han Jun and others looked at Zhao Xinyu speechlessly. Zhao Xinyu smiled lightly and said, Han Li, just find the construction team, and you don't need to worry about anything else. That I originally thought that Saizue would calm down after a few days of busy work, but I didn't expect that more and more people would come here every day, and there would be customers queuing up before it even opened. In just over 10 days, not only residents in the north of the city, hotels, and preserved vegetables, but also people in the other 3 areas knew that the vegetables sold in preserved vegetables in Zaihanling were not only delicious, but also had good nutritional value. Extremely high. Because business is so booming, TV stations have reported on it several times. Many hotels and restaurants want to order vegetables from Saizue, but Saizue has made a statement that each customer can purchase up to 10 kilograms of vegetables without 1 gold. In the end, there was even a group of people here in Zaihanling specifically to help people buy vegetables. They lined up to buy vegetables and then sold them to some hotels and restaurants. Some people also inquired that the vegetables sold by preserved Saizu come from Zhao Xinyu's compound. They also wanted to come to look for Zhao Xinyu, but every time they were greeted by Tai Qiangjuan, who was guarding the door. Even if the door was opened, they did not dare to enter the yard. Because in front of the courtyard there was a big dog that looked like a calf waiting for them with bared teeth, because the preserved vegetable business was so booming. Han Jun, the 6 of them, and their parents were working overloaded every day. Zhao Xinyu simply discussed with them and asked Han Tianliang to find a few more honest people in the village. Go over and help. While the vegetables were on fire, construction also started over the stinking ditch. In order to ensure the quality of the construction, Zhao Xinyu specially sent Lu Ming, a construction worker, to supervise. Almost all the villagers were confused when Zhao Xinyu found someone to clean up the stinking ditch. The stinky ditch had been there for decades. Because of the smell and the mosquitoes all over the sky, people were reluctant to clean up the stinking ditch when the weather was hot. The ditch passes. Now the construction is about to start over there in the smelly ditch, and there is news that the construction cost will exceed 200,000, which makes people feel that Zhao Xinyu, who started his career by growing vegetables, is crazy. In their imagination, spending so much money to build a smelly ditch is worse than buying a building in the suburbs. Zhao Xinyu, do you have any plans to spend more than 200,000 yuan to renovate a smelly ditch? Under the grape trellis in the courtyard, Du Mengnan looked at Zhao Xinyu and asked. While the vegetables were booming, the grapes planted in the vegetable garden were already blooming and bearing fruit. Although it was not yet the grape ripening season, it was very cool under the grape trellis. What surprised Han Tianliang and the others was that compared to other vegetable fields, there are no mosquitoes or anything else under the grape trellis. It is precisely because of this that people always choose to go under the grape trellis when they want to enjoy the cool air. Zhao Xinyu chuckled. Wait a moment, I'll get you some cantaloupe to try first. Du Mengnan was slightly startled. Cantaloupe? It's what you call melon, but we call it cantaloupe over there. No, it won't take long for the melons to mature in the greenhouse. I'll go over and have a look. While talking, Du Mengnan also got up and followed Zhao Xinyu. The place where watermelons and cantaloupes are planted is in the north of the yard, next to the simple house, with an area of about 1.5 acres. Since there is no space for planting cantaloupes and watermelons, Zhao Xinyu also gave it a try. There are about an acre of watermelon. The green vines and leaves cover the vegetable field so that no trace of soil can be seen. The round watermelons between the leaves are covered with water mist, and there is a trace of halo flickering under the sunlight. There are almost no vines visible on the half-acre muskmelon, and all you can see are lumpy muskmelons. The milky white muskmelons are not small, any one is about half a caddy in size. When you get closer, you can smell the unique scent of cantaloupe. Fragrance. It smells so good. Du Mengnan took a deep breath and walked into the melon field. She looked around, but she didn't dare to make a move. She had eaten a lot of cantaloupe, but this was the first time she entered the melon field. She didn't dare to make a move because if the cantaloupe it tastes more bitter than coptis when unripe. Seeing Du Mengnan's look, Zhao Xinyu laughed and said, Here, I'll teach you how to identify the rawness and ripeness of melons. While speaking, he pointed to a cantaloupe with tiny cracks on it and condensed reddish-brown juice. Here, touch it. Ripe cantaloupe is very smooth to the touch, while immature ones are a bit astringent to the touch. Ripe melons have thin stems and will fall off if touched lightly. The flower stems are also small and round, with tiny cracks like this. Although the cantaloupe doesn't look good, it tastes the best. His white and tender fingers touched the cantaloupe a few times, and then looked at the melon base and flower base. Du Mengnan's eyes lit up, and he turned to look at Zhao Xinyu. According to what you said, this melon should be ripe. Pick it off and taste it. Du Mengnan exerted a little force, and the cantaloupe in his hand fell off the vine. He went back and washed it with water, and handed it to Zhao Xinyu. I can't eat one by myself. You can help me open it, and it will be half for each person. Zhao Xinyu smiled faintly and knocked lightly. After a crisp sound, a strong melon fragrance filled the air, and the orange-red melon juice overflowed. Du Mengnan couldn't help but swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva, and his pretty face turned slightly red. Taking the half melon handed over by Zhao Xinyu, Du Mengnan didn't look like a lady and couldn't wait to take a bite. After one bite, Du Mengnan hummed and a hint of joy appeared in his eyes. The cantaloupe is crisp and sweet. After chewing it for a few times, it turns into a stream of sweetness and enters the stomach. Instantly, there is a slight cooling feeling in the stomach, and the fragrance lingers on the lips and teeth. Du Mengnan ate half of the cantaloupe within 10 seconds. Then she saw Zhao Xinyu handing over the other half. He took it and ate it without even thinking about it. A half-catty cantaloupe was too much for Du Mengnan. I ate it all in 1 minute. After eating, Du Mengnan let out a sigh of relief, and then she felt a sticky feeling on her hands. She saw that her hands were covered with orange-red melon juice that looked like honey. Do you want to eat or not? Eat, this is my first time to eat such a fragrant melon. A few minutes later, Du Mengnan got up and went to Zhao Xinyu's room to wash up. When he returned to the melon field, his jade hands kept rubbing his lower abdomen. When he saw Zhao Xinyu who was smiling but not smiling, Du Mengnan blushed and glared at Zhao Xinyu. One glance, why are you laughing? Du Mengnan, you know how many cantaloupes you have eaten. 2, maybe. The next moment, Du Mengnan was stunned, with a look of disbelief in her eyes. She saw 4 melon stems where she just ate the melon. It's impossible, I ate all these. Although she said this, she knew in her heart that she really ate 4, because Zhao Xinyu didn't move when she was eating. With a hint of embarrassment, Du Mengnan said softly, this cantaloupe is so delicious. Zhao Xinyu, please sell all these melons to me. After saying this, she seemed to have thought of something else and pointed at the watermelon. I want watermelon too. Zhao Xinyu's eyes flickered a few times. What is your relationship with that Zhao Jiamin? Why are you more interested in her than her? Du Mengnan blushed. As Zhao Xinyu said, Zhao Jiamin had never been here since the last time. On the contrary, she, the introducer, came here every now and then. Don't worry about it. Do you want to keep this melon? Du Mengnan said with a hint of shyness. She didn't know what was wrong with her. She always spoke coldly in front of others, but in front of this guy, she had never been as cool as others. Said coldly, at the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 19 Blackmail. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. We can't eat either. Looking at the angry Du Mengnan, Zhao Xinyu didn't know how to say such a sentence, which was full of ridicule. Du Mengnan's pretty face turned even redder. She subconsciously raised her hand to push Zhao Xinyu, but she didn't want to slip and her whole body fell towards Zhao Xinyu. Zhao Xinyu subconsciously supported Du Mengnan, and then his hands felt soft. Du Mengnan's delicate body trembled, and when she stopped, her pretty face turned red. Ever since she was a child, except for family members, she was unwilling to touch anyone of the opposite sex, but now, if this was normal, she would have taken action long ago if she wasn't angry. But this time, for some reason, apart from being shy, she didn't feel disgusted in her heart. Of course you can eat the ones you grow yourself. It's settled. Give me all the melons at the current market price of 12 yuan per catty. Zhao Xinyu was slightly stunned. Although he had made a lot of money during this period, he really didn't know the price of cantaloupe. It was not because he was reluctant to part with it, but because he had developed a habit over the years. How to identify raw and ripe watermelons. Du Mengnan walked into the melon field. Watermelons are different from cantaloupes. If there is dew, look at the dew. A watermelon with dew on it is not good enough. A watermelon with a little dew on it will be ripe. How can you recognize something without dew? Tap it lightly and feel the trembling watermelon is ripe. You know so much. Zhao Xinyu shook his head. Everyone who grew up in rural areas understands. Zhao Xinyu, is this watermelon ripe? Zhao Xinyu was stunned. He had taken a look yesterday and found that the cantaloupe had just matured. In his imagination, the watermelon was only 10 days old. If there are ripe watermelons, they are root melons, but in my impression, he removed all the root melons. When he walked over, he smiled and said, you can teach me. Du Mengnan gave him a big eye roll, bent down and picked off the watermelon. Return the watermelon if it doesn't taste good. Zhao Xinyu laughed and went back to get a knife to cut the melon. When the watermelon was cut open, a faint fragrance filled the air, and Du Mengnan's eyes lit up. However, the watermelon was divided into two halves, and Du Mengna was stunned again. The flesh of the melon was not blood red or golden as she had imagined, but silvery white. Even the melon juice flowing down is silvery white and extremely viscous. Not only Du Mengnan, but also Zhao Xinyu was stunned. After cutting a small piece, Zhao Xinyu was about to taste it, but Du Mengnan had already reached out to take it away and took a small bite. Du Mengnan couldn't help but hum, his eyes widened instantly, full of surprise. The watermelon melts in the mouth, with a hint of coolness in the sweetness. The pores all over the body seem to be open, and there is an indescribable feeling of comfort all over the body. It's cooked and delicious. Du Mengnan couldn't help but took another bite and muttered. Zhao Xinyu cut half of the watermelon and took a small piece. His eyes lit up immediately. As Du Mengnan said, the watermelon was indeed delicious, as sweet as honey but not greasy. More than 10 minutes later, a 7 or 8 kilogram watermelon was completely eaten by 2 people. Du Mengnan wiped his mouth and looked at the melon field. Find a few more and I will take them home later. Not to mention, the 2 of them actually found 3 more ripe watermelons in the melon field. When Zhao Xinyu was carrying watermelons and cantaloupes to Du Mengnan found that Zhao Xinyu walked like ordinary people, which made him walk behind. Du Mengnan was shocked. She was once sentenced to death by a doctor, but in the end she saved her life, but ended up with a lifelong disability. The recovery of her face has surprised her. Now that her lame leg can recover, this subverts Du Mengna's perception. No, on this day, because of the melon, Pengcheng Hotel once again became a hot topic among people. According to the descriptions of diners, people all wanted to taste the taste of the melon that can even be swallowed by the tongue. Zhao Xinyu didn't pay much attention to things on the internet, but Han Li and the others were different. They also quickly learned about the melon. However, they were all surprised when they heard that Pengcheng Hotel had booked the melons in the courtyard at a price of 12 yuan a caddy. They must know that the current market price is only 12 yuan, and they can all book at this price. This is something they did not have thought of. That night, a group of people were eating in front of the simple house. Black Wind suddenly turned his head and yelled at the big iron door. Han Li frowned and stood up and said, "You guys eat, I'll go out and take a look." A moment later, Zhao Xinyu and the others heard Han Li's roar coming from the darkness. "What are you doing?" Everyone's expressions changed. They put down their bowls and chopsticks and hurried toward the door. Zhao Xinyu also stood up and opened the waiting room in the courtyard. At the gate, 7 or 8 young men smelling of alcohol and wearing fancy clothes each held a bag in their hands and were picking tomatoes and cucumbers. A middle-aged man was leaning against the gate, eating tomatoes with big mouthfuls, and kept mumbling about picking more. A little. "Zhao Ximing, what do you mean?" Han Tianliang said angrily. Zhao Ximing threw the half-eaten tomatoes into the vegetable field, glanced at Han Tianliang and the others, and his eyes fell on Zhao Xinyu, who followed him. "Zhao Xinyu, right? You use my water and I eat a few of your tomatoes and cucumbers. By the way, you guys are all here, so I just said it directly. The vegetables in your compound grow like this because of me. Water, I will have people come over to pick some vegetables every day from now on, not more than 200 kilograms each. In addition, the water consumption of your vegetables has increased, and you will give me another 2,000 yuan for water every month." Hearing this, Zhao Xinyu's face darkened and he smiled coldly. "Zhao Ximing, I will give you 3,000 water fees for growing vegetables. At that time, you agreed that it would be a year's water fee. Besides, why do I grow vegetables? I'll give it to you for free." Zhao Ximing's face turned cold and he staggered towards Zhao Xinyu. "Little cripple, don't be so shameless. I have never spent money on food. Now I have changed my mind. Each vegetable costs 500 kilograms and water costs for a month 5,000 each. Zhao Ximing, why don't you go and rob him? You are deceived by ghosts all the time. You are still a man. At this time, the young and energetic Han Li couldn't help it. He took a step forward and pointed at Zhao Ximing and scolded him. As soon as he opened the door, Zhao Ximing asked the gangsters following him to pick vegetables. They were all from the same village. Han Li tolerated it. But now Zhao Ximing said this. This was obviously blackmail. How could Han Li and the others accept it? Zhao Ximing became furious when Han Li scolded him. He slapped Han Li with his backhand and said, "You little bastard, you fucking dare to scold me." Han Li tilted his head, reached out and grabbed Zhao Ximing's arm, and threw Zhao Ximing to the ground. When the gangsters saw the boss being beaten, they immediately threw away their bags and rushed over. As soon as they moved, Han Jun and the others stopped fighting. The two sides instantly struggled with each other. The drunken men were the young and strong Han Li and his opponents. They were all knocked to the ground in a few seconds. This is why Zhao Xinyu has been holding down He Feng. If Zhao Xinyu hadn't been holding them down, Zhao Ximing and the others would have been dealt with by He Feng. Zhao Ximing got up from the ground, wiped his nosebleed, and pointed at Zhao Xinyu. From tomorrow on, don't even think about using me for a fucking drop of water. Han Jun, Han Li, you just wait for me. If you don't avenge this, I swear not to be a human being. When Zhao Ximing and the others left, Han Tianliang glanced at Han Jun and the others. You are too impulsive. It's not like you don't know who Zhao Ximing is. It's too late for others to hide from him. Now, with his character I can dig out the water pipe for you tonight. Dad, we couldn't hold it back. He was obviously trying to extort money. 5,000 water bills a month. What's the difference between what he did and robbing him? If I give it to him this time, he will even make a big noise next time. He's like this. He is jealous of Xinyu. Han Tianliang sighed slightly. Who is not envious of Xinyu now? The villagers' yards are now full of vegetables. I heard that several companies are also going to open preserved vegetables near you. These vegetables are at the peak of water use. If the water supply is cut off, water, vegetables and that's it. Grandpa Han, the water in the smelly ditch has been cleaned. Tomorrow you can check the location of the spring. Let them dig out the spring first. Lu Ming will buy a water pump tomorrow. Han Tianliang nodded. This is the only way to do it, but Zhao Ximing is a rogue. They don't dare to do anything to Han Jun and the others, but they will definitely retaliate against you, so you must be careful. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises. Chapter 20 New Ideas. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recite the Situ website silently 3 times. Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I'll ask again in the next chapter. It's best to share it on Facebook for me. Zhao Xinyu nodded. Grandpa Han, I will be careful. Is it possible that the village will just let him act like this? Han Tianliang smiled bitterly. He has been detained countless times because of this kind of thing, and he is still like this when he comes out. The village also wants to take back the right to manage water, but it can't stop him from acting rogue and leading the village's gangsters to threaten him. The village also wants to take back the right to manage water. There is nothing we can do against him. If anyone offends him, there will definitely be trouble. In the past few years since he came back, at least 20 families have been bullied by him and left Xianling. Xinyu, don't be afraid of him. If he dares to come again, we will deal with him, Han Li said loudly. Zhao Xinyu shook his head. Han Li, no one can do anything against such a person. Grandpa Han is right. Everyone should be careful. Okay, let's eat first. But because of this incident, no one could eat the delicacies cooked by Zhao Xinyu, and Han Tianliang and the others were even more worried. Obviously, they were all worried about Zhao Ximing's revenge. As Han Tianliang said, when he got up the next day, Zhao Xinyu found that the water had been cut off. When he went out to ask, he saw a large pit outside the hospital, and the water pipe in the pit had been sawed off. Then Han Li called and found out that several roads leading to preserved Saibwa had been dug up. People who wanted to buy vegetables could not drive into the village. They had to walk around the village to buy vegetables. Moreover, several people following Zhao Xinyu the little ruffian was holding the big dog in front of several intersections. Many people were afraid to go there. There were almost no customers at Kaigui. Everyone in the village knew who did this, but they knew Zhao Xinyu's character well, but they dared not speak out. Although the preserved vegetables are not open for too long, many people enter the village every day, and the villagers also sell some local specialties. They also have their own income, so they are grateful to Zhao Xinyu for opening the preserved vegetables. Now that Zhao Xinyu and the others are making trouble, their financial resources have been cut off invisibly. Of course, they also hate Zhao Xinyu and the others. In the afternoon, Zhao Xinyu called Han Li and the others and found out that due to road problems, there were still very few customers, and only a small part of the vegetables prepared yesterday were sold. Han Li, give the remaining vegetables to the villagers. After hearing the news, the villagers were also excited. By night, all the vegetables in the preserved vegetables were given away. Due to road issues, Zhao Xinyu planned to temporarily close his business, but just as he got up the next day, he received a call from Han Li, who asked him to take a look at the main road over the preserved vegetables. When Zhao Xinyu passed by, his eyes turned red. He saw at least 70 or 80 old people standing on the road, and each of them had a card in their hand that said they would help deliver food for free. An old man found out the wheelbarrow that had become an antique. Looking at the old people who could be his grandfather and grandmother, Zhao Xinyu felt a little sad. He once again felt the warmth of the world. He also knew that Han Tianyang and the others were not the only ones who cared about him. There were many villagers he didn't know. She was also caring about him silently. Zhao Xinyu asked Han Li to secretly write down the names of these old people. Although the business of preserved vegetables this day was not as popular as before, thousands of kilograms of vegetables were still sold. Among them, Zhao Xinyu also sent people to interfere, but against these grandpa and grandma levels, their tricks were useless. I heard that Zhao Xinyu was so angry because of this incident that he vowed to take revenge on those who helped Zhao Xinyu. And on this day, good news came from Lu Ming. The spring buried deep under the collapsed soil was also excavated. The construction team was strengthening it, and it would be available the day after tomorrow at the latest. When spring water was dug out in the compound, Zhao Xinyu was even more furious. He also knew that his plan to cut off the water and force Zhao Xinyu to compromise had failed, but he was still unwilling to accept it. He began to think of other ways to deal with Zhao Xinyu. In the next few days, the spring water finally entered the compound, and more people in the village helped Zhao Xinyu and the others for free. That night, I don't know who filled in the road dug by Zhao Xinyu and the others, allowing customers to enter the village again. When everything returned to normal, the villagers who had helped Zhao Xinyu were rewarded on this day. Each household could get a certain amount of vegetables from Kai preserved for free every day, and they helped deliver the vegetables. For several days, Zhao Xinyu paid them 100 yuan every day. As soon as the news spread, the people in the village were surprised. They didn't expect that in their eyes, Zhao Xinyu only helped a small favor, but Zhao Xinyu gave them a reward that was enviable by outsiders. In the following days, Zhao Xinyu's side returned to normal. The desilting and reinforcement of the Luohe River had been completed. The cleaned Luohe River had begun to store water. The construction team also started to build walls and guardrails around the Luohe River. The village assigned him the wasteland was also cleared, but due to funding issues, the wasteland was only cleared. Han Li and the others also asked Zhao Xinyu how to use that wasteland, but Zhao Xinyu just smiled lightly and didn't say anything. That night, when a group of people were sitting together to eat, Han Li pointed to the chicken and fish made by Zhao Xinyu. Xinyu, these chickens and fish were grown on feed, and they don't taste very good. Your compound is It's so big and there are so many vegetable leaves, it's better to raise some chickens and ducks yourself. The speaker was unintentional and the listener was intentional. Zhao Xinyu's heart moved. He looked at Han Li and the others and said, "You know where we have a breeding base here. There is a breeding farm in Dongwangswang in the east of the city. Some people in our village work there. You really want to raise chickens? Han Li is right. We have enough vegetable leaves in our yard every day to raise some chickens and ducks. We don't need to spend money to buy them in the future. After the Luaha River is filled with water, we will get some fish. Okay, I'll go find out tomorrow how much you plan to buy. Zhao Xinyu looked at Han Tianyang and said, Grandpa Han, I really don't understand this matter. You can decide how much you want to buy. For such a big yard, I have to buy 700 to 800 yuan. Vegetable leaves for chickens and ducks are enough, and the excrement of chickens and ducks can also be used as fertilizer. Zhao Xinyu thought about his own space. He nodded and looked at Han Jun, Brother Jun, please contact the chickens and ducks. Buy 700 chickens, 300 ducks, and 300 geese first. Early the next morning, Zhao Xinyu left the yard. Yesterday, when Han Li and the others were talking about breeding, he thought of the big puddle in space. He wanted to buy a few fish to try and see if fish could be raised in the big puddle in space, but after going out, Zhao Xinyu couldn't help but shake his head. He saw that paint was splashed on the door, and many big holes were dug on the road leading outside, making it impossible for tricycles to pass. Of course he knew in his heart who did this. Although he was angry in his heart, he also knew that it would be useless to reason with such a scoundrel. After sending the tricycle back, he called Han Li and asked Han Li to find someone to fill the pit. He went to Pengcheng himself. By the time he came back with the fish he bought, the pit in front of the door had been filled up, and furry little guys were constantly crawling in and out of the vegetable patch in the courtyard. Black Wind was lying on the edge of the vegetable patch, staring at what he was looking for. He was eating chickens, ducks and geese, his eyes flashing, not knowing what he was thinking. Hafen, you can't have any bad intentions, Zhao Xinyu said with a smile. These words immediately aroused Hafeng's dissatisfaction. He growled at Zhao Xinyu a few times, turned around and got into the vegetable field, which made Zhao Xinyu laugh. After returning to the room, he put all the more than 30 grass carp, and crucian carp he bought into the large puddle in the space. The next moment Zhao Xinyu felt the space tremble, which made Zhao Xinyu feel happy. During this period he also knows that as long as the space trembles, the space will definitely change. Just when Zhao Xinyu was about to lock the door and enter the space to see the changes in the space, he heard the low roar of Heizi in the courtyard. The low roar of Heizi was also mixed with the exclamations of women. When Zhao Xinyu came out of the yard, he saw Du Mengnan coming over. This time she was not alone. There were 4 panic-looking girls who were similar in age to Du Mengnan and were hiding behind Du Mengnan. Each of them was wearing a famous brand. Although her appearance is not as good as that of Du Mengnan, she can be called a beauty when exposed. The guy Haifeng may have sensed the panic of the 4 girls. He jumped in front of Du Mengnan and kept making low roars, which made the 4 girls scream in surprise. But Du Mengnan, who knew Black Wind, was laughing so hard that his flowers were trembling. At the beginning of the chapter, I asked you to read it silently 3 times. Do you remember? Share on Facebook and there may be surprises.